something that is very important in music, it is to play with other people or to play with a record player. Record players, record players, go to YouTube, find your favorite tune and try to play along with it. So don't, of course, not Foggy Mountain Breakdown instantly. Just try to find something that is slow enough. Look up the chord progression. You can always, let's say you find a piece that you like Keep on the Sunny Side, something like that, and you can always go on the internet and just punch in Keep on the Sunny Side chord chart, and then it gives you the chords, and then you can sort of roll and play along like what I showed you, and put your headphones on so you can hear better what's going on, and you sort of just noodle along with it, and use the things I taught you about playing along. You don't necessarily have to vamp, you can just sort of roll and do things. The main reason is I'm saying this, there's an intellectual way, and what I can teach you here in these little lessons is very intellectual. I have to talk to you about timing, about where the notes are, which fingers, where, and all that. But there's also a very intuitive way, and I think we should not forget now, especially so late into these lessons now, we're almost, lesson 50. This is lesson 50, so it's a lot. That there's an intuitive way of learning, and the best way of doing that is not, not to think too much. That's why it's intuitive, I guess. You just put the music on. I used to listen to the Osborne Brothers and Lester Flatt, Earl Scruggs, and I would just try to play along. Of course, it was chaos. It didn't sound like anything much. I couldn't even play, a fraction of the notes that Earl was playing. But I still had my banjo in my hand, and for instance, it was like a tune, like I remember this one. Can you imagine? I was a kid and just barely knew how the banjo was tuned, and just had some finger picks on, and just sort of, I couldn't do that. So he would, Earl Scruggs, here comes, and I'm sitting there just like, okay, I could find these notes, and so I could, and then he does something like that. And for somebody who would have listened to me trying to keep up with Earl Scruggs, he would have thought, there's no way this kid will ever learn how to play the banjo. There's not a chance, because it was so far away from what Earl was doing. But because nobody told me that I didn't have a chance, and nobody was there who tell me that I shouldn't do it, I just kept on doing that. The interesting thing was that in my mind, it started to form by itself how it looks, how it feels, and where the notes are. And in a very interesting way, it was a lot faster than if I only had, let's say, tablature. Putting me into this atmosphere of being totally overwhelmed and just sort of trying to hold on and trying to hang on, and just trying to find the notes that I was able to find at that moment, taught me a lot more than just looking at music. I think this is a very important part of learning. You get thrown into the situation. That's similar like when you go to a jam session and you play with people who are much better than you. And it's very important that you always, you be kind to people that are not as good as you. But you always want to be with people who are better than you also. You want to try them. My mother always said, when you go to school, always try to sit beside the smartest kid, because that's where you're going to learn the most. I think I never did, but it was a good advice. but just to sort of put the headphones on, and there's for instance, beautiful song, Life is Like a Mountain Railroad, sung by Johnny Cash and Earl Scruggs on one of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band albums, you know, or A Little Mountain Church in the Valley, things like that. These songs, these beautiful songs, and Earl Scruggs, you know, starts off, and then you can hear how the banjo works in context of really great professional music, and you can hear what you do, and you try to match slowly to what's going on the headphones. So I don't know if I'm saying this right, but I'm just trying to really encourage you of not trying to understand everything that's happening in the learning process. Does that make any sense? I don't know if that does. I sometimes have students that come, yeah, write down every finger, every move you do, and then I can exactly learn it that way. And I say, well, I can do that, but you have to promise me that you also just try to play. Just to try to play along. The great thing is when you do that at home with an album that you really like, there's enough slow songs on there that you can just sort of, you know, try your way around. You can hear this is in C, this is in F, this is in D. With old Flat and Scruggs recordings, sometimes it's difficult because they're out of tune. They're like, you know, almost G sharp or something like that, you know, because they're, you know, they just, I don't know why, but there's a few explanations for that. But when you listen, you know, to you know, your favorite music, you know, don't listen to tunes that, you know, it's gonna be too complicated. There's just like, you know, too many chords. Try to stick with the simple melodies like Old Joe Clark, John Hardy, all the Carter family tunes, Foggy Mountain Top, My Home's Across the Blue Ridge Mountains. And listen to, you know, there has to be a banjo player on there who plays, and so you can listen, oh, what he does, oh, he goes up the neck, he does something up there, and all of a sudden you learn that from me, and you re-recognize that. You say, okay, this is exactly what that was, and this sounds like that, and this sounds like that, and that teaches you a lot faster than you would ever believe it would. You know, it put your headphones on, you play along with the best in the world, and you just don't worry too much. You sort of just move your fingers and try to see, oh, there was a slide here, and let's do this, and let's do this. I find this, okay, I found this. And it, you know, when, in the beginning, of course, you know, when Foggy Mountain Breakdown was, you know, I would try to play with Foggy Mountain Breakdown. It's not a good idea, but you know, it's here. But I played it here. Because I didn't know that Earl Scruggs played it here. But it didn't matter, it taught me this. Maybe I just did something like that. It wasn't. But still, I was able to have something happening inside of me, the search, and all of a sudden, you wouldn't believe. I tell you a story once, but not now. But I will tell you a story about a student of mine who was like a miracle. He was challenged, you know, a little bit, and but he learned. He learned that was beyond anything I've ever seen because he trusted his ability that he could play it, and so I want to encourage you of doing that, because that's what you see in children. They don't even think that they cannot learn it; they just go for it, and you can do that in every age. It's not age related. I don't think so. I've seen people do that, you know, in any age. So anyway, get your favorite recordings, play along with them, and don't worry how you sound. Don't worry at all. Just do it again and again and enjoy playing along. I think that's key for enjoyment and fast learning as well. All right. So thank you for listening to this explanation, and I just hope that you stay encouraged, and I see you again in lesson 50 to 6 all the way to lesson 60. I want to put about 100 of these on, I think. So go to our website and, you know, download the tablature and everything. Good luck to you. Bye-bye.